So almost 13 years ago, my neighbor was the Sandy Hook shooter, shot and killed 20 children and 6 educators in our community. And at the time, we really felt that we needed a platform for the community members and survivors from here to use our voices to try to create the change that was necessary to prevent another Newtown, is what we said. We really felt that we needed to honor with action.
Mom was a second grade teacher at Sandy Hook School when the shooting happened. But kind of changed the way I saw in my childhood. So for example, in school, while the elementary kid wouldn't think about really oh, where are the exits, or are the windows closed, are they locked, where are windows? So I was scared to go certain places alone. I was scared to use the bathroom because there was a window up there. I was constantly thinking about things like that, and I was I need to do something. So then when I got to Newtown High School, I joined Junior Newtown Action Alliance, and I was I need to do something to make this change.
How do you stay motivated to keep going after all this time?
Well, really, it's the survivors who have been directly impacted by gun violence, and also like Cali, who are in this fight to try to create the change that's necessary for their future. So if they can stay in this fight, then we need to stay in this fight. We've believed that people heal differently, and for many, they might go to therapy and do kindness. But for people like Cali and myself, we need to take action.
Yes.
And try to create the change that's necessary.
Exactly.
That's how we heal.
We're just in D.C. How often do you go, and what do you do when you go there?
For years we've been traveling to D.C., and it depends on the timing, but we travel to D.C. quite often, usually every other month. This year it's slowed down a little bit because of the political climate. But we typically travel down with either small groups of people or large groups of people. Last week, we brought 3 high school students from Newtown and 3 college students from Newtown to D.C., and we met with Senate offices, 22 of them, to urge them to co-sponsor legislation like assault weapons ban, Ethan's law to keep kids safe from unsecured guns, repealing the gun industry civil shield, and passing Cycle of Violence Act that will fund community violence intervention programs.
What kind of progress are you making?
Not pass any gun control legislation during this Congress because of the Trump administration and their allies. However, we're the future. We've been in this fight for 13 years, so little by little what we do is we seek co-sponsors for these priority legislation for a time when we can win back the trifecta, which we must do.
Yes.
So we can pass all of these gun control legislation we've been fighting so hard for 13 years.
And how many representatives do you have in your corner right now?
Well, we have 42 senators who have sponsored the assault weapons ban, and we have nearly 190 that have supported the assault weapons ban on the House side.
Excellent.
So we use assault weapons ban as sort of a test for us because for some reason people believe that's going to be the hardest to pass. Although 2 Congresses ago, after the Uvalde, Buffalo, and Highland Park mass shootings, we were able to pass the assault weapons ban and Ethan's law in the House of Representatives.
Nice.
We didn't have the votes in the Senate because of the filibuster, but Joe's ready to sign that bill into law. So we are very effective, door with young people, survivors, and seeking the co-sponsorship because it educates all these offices about the importance of these bills.
And Cali, how do you organize folks your age to get involved?
Honestly, we've grown Junior Newtown Action Alliance, I feel a lot over the past few years, and it's really just honestly, people on how much gun violence affects others, and I think it's so strong in Newtown because of what our community had gone through. So people seeing how their friends were affected, or maybe family members or anything like that, they have to do something. And honestly, just talking to other people around me and being hey, I went to DC, I was talking to other senators about how this is so important to me, and honestly, we made a lot of progress. We co-signers for this bill, blah, blah, blah. They are wow, you were able to do all of that, and I was yeah, what we do as part of this club, you can make a difference. This is something that you are able to do, and it will definitely show.
And do you feel like you can go on to bigger things, maybe run for office yourself?
For college soon. I'm an incoming senior at Newtown High School, and I want to go for political science, so I'm hoping to do something in the realm because I think it is really important, and I know that as of right now, like, I feel like I'm making so much of a difference, and if I go to school for political science and I can really be out there making more of a difference, I think it's just going to be better and better.
That's so inspirational.
I love it.
So how do you guys kind of figure out what are the actions you're going to take?
Well, we've had priority legislation for many, many years. It hasn't changed much over the years, so we collaborate with the Junior Newtown Action Alliance and with the new leaders each year. Luckily, we have Cali for another year, which is fantastic. And Wakeman is an advisor. She's an advisor for the Junior Newtown Action Alliance. She's also a board member since the beginning for Newtown Action Alliance, and she does an incredible job making sure that she stays connected to the students. So we're able to collaborate on so many, events and pushes.
How do you feel about changing state-level legislation? Does that make a difference?
Oh yeah, it's in lieu of passing federal legislation, states like Connecticut have passed very strong laws. Recently, the state passed a gun industry accountability bill to allow victims to sue the gun industry. So that's really critical. So Connecticut has joined 9 other states in doing that. And of course, Connecticut passed Ethan's law, assault weapons ban, and so many other, like federal government must pass in the future.
And how many other states are you able to influence to come on board?
Well, I think majority of states would like to come on board. However, it just depends on the political makeup of each state legislature.
Right.
That is a huge factor. So I think one of the things that young people even understand is that they need to get hyper local and vote on the local elections to make sure that we have the elected officials who are gun safety champions.
And do you feel like you have any inroads into purple, reddish states, or is it only in blue states where you make a difference?
Well, the blue states will make a difference, but after the Parkland tragedy, March for Our Lives, when the families from Parkland really pushed for some changes, and in fact, Rick Scott, who was a governor at the time, a Republican, passed Raising the Age Act and the Red Flag Law. But as a senator right now, he refuses to support those bills.
Oh, gosh.
And Cali has met with his chief counsel, and it was not a good meeting, right, Cali?
Tell us about that.
Honestly, we went into it with kind of mind, we knew that it was going to be a conversation, but that's stopped. It matter. We're still going to have that conversation anyways, because it's still important to talk to people who have the complete opposite beliefs as you. So we kind of into it knowing what's going to happen, but then we each told our story. So I talked about my elementary school and how important it is to me that we make change. And honestly, he kind of the entire time and was like, oh, we already have this passed. So we're making schools even that's going to change it. And he talked about how he would just trust to carry a gun, and how if they're carrying a gun, they know that they're responsible to do that. And we were like, this is not making any sense. So then I got to a point where I was like, do you have any kids? And he was like, yeah, I have a young daughter. And I was like, I hope you know you're down, because you're not doing anything to change the way our climate's going at all. And she is going to get to a point where she doesn't feel safe in school. And you have the power to change that, and you're not. So I was this needs to change. You're not doing what you need. And I'm sure he wasn't even really listening, but we need to have that conversation anyways.
There's a lot of mass shootings going on. There was one yesterday. Going to take for people to catch on to this?
Well, I would say it's going to take all of us to take steps of action, and most importantly, to vote. We need to vote for legislators and others who will support our gun legislation that we've been pushing for. That's what it's really going to, difference.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do we get people off of the couch to vote? I don't feel like we should have to wait for something to happen to them personally.
Everyone mindset of oh, it hasn't bothered me yet, I don't need to worry about this. But then when it happens to them, they're like, oh my gosh, how did I not realize this before? But we need to change that mindset, because that's not going to get us anywhere. And you don't want to get to the point where it happens to you and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to wake up and do something. But I think it's mostly I really from the young generations, because we're voting age now, and we need to really just amplify the importance of you have power to do something. You don't need to just sit back and like watch that happen. Like, you have power to change this, and just like really try to amplify that, because I feel like a lot of people around me don't really recognize that. Like, sure, they can vote, but they're not understanding like, yeah, I can really make a difference. They're like, oh, like, I don't need to vote. Like, some people vote anyways. Like, it's fine. And it's just like, that's not the mindset you want to have, because guess what? So many other people have that mindset too, and they're not voting because they think that other people are going to vote, and they really just need to get it in their heads that like, I make a real difference with my vote. Like, this is what I need to be doing.
Expand on that. Yesterday, I'm sure that those executives and security guards in the building in Manhattan thought gun violence would impact them, because New York City is one of the most highly policed cities in the country. They had an armed security guard there and other security guards, but it happened to them. So it really is important that everyone gets engaged on this issue and support gun control before it happens to them.
How do we rally people and get people involved in your rallies and other events that are happening so that we can spread the word?
Well, I've been really proud of Newtown. You know, democracy being formed after the Trump election, to mobilize community members on a local level all across the country. Rock the State has provided that opportunity in collaboration with Newtown Action Alliance and Junior Newtown Action Alliance to allow members to be together during a time when it's so challenging. But gun violence is an issue that impacts basically all issues that we for in our society. So it's important to continue to provide those opportunities for community members to engage and support the nationwide efforts. So during the month of December, we host a national vigil for all victims of gun violence.
Oh, perfect.
It'll be our 13th annual vigil, where we bring in hundreds of survivors from all across the country. We honor the victims, and then the next day we lobby Congress to ensure that they have, their vote in Congress. But in addition to that, we've always used a national vigil as an anchor, right, for anyone across the country to get engaged. And during the month of December is when, every December, it's very hard for survivors.
Sure.
Right? There's an empty seat at many kitchens across this country because more than 1.3 million Americans have been shot since Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
So it's really important to support the survivors in the communities. So we hope that December will be a time when all these national groups will lean in and support the work that we have been doing to end gun violence in this country.
So this is an even more stressful over the past 7 months with this regime in place. How do you two stay motivated to keep going?
It's honestly, at first I was extremely discouraged. I was like, oh no, like all of our progress is going to go backwards, especially like when they dismantled the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I was like, oh my gosh, everything we've done, everything we've worked for, it's just gonna get removed in like days. But then I was thinking, and I was like, this like can't let us, this can't goal to discourage us, and that's just even more motivation for us to keep going, because if that's their objective is to stop us, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep going. And while it's hard and you feel like sometimes your progress isn't really, you still are making progress. Like, for example, sometimes when I have lobbying, even in like Hartford, some of the politicians will just to us and be like, don't ever stop what you're doing, like especially young people, so many people, young people, because you are here and passionate about this idea at such a young age, and don't ever stop like speaking. And honestly, that's really because it like motivates me to keep going, even if I feel like I'm not always making progress at times, but really just like always remind myself to like keep, even if things seem like this is just their objective the entire time. So
you have such a wise, such a young person. It's amazing.
Well, Susan, I mean, the bottom line is there are guns in this country, and 23% of all guns being manufactured right now are assault weapons, AR-15s. So we're in danger.
Yeah.
We're not safe. And until we ban assault weapons and pass all the other gun control legislation, it's going to be very challenging to keep them safe and their children safe.
Right.
This is why we have to stay in the fight.
Yes.
But first and foremost, though, we need to fight for our democracy, because without saving our democracy, we can't pass these gun control bills.
So, guys, how do we get the average person involved so they feel like they're making a difference?
Oh my God, we have made it so easy for anyone across the country to make a difference. So we host a lunch and lobby session and also an hour session at 8 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. And we have 2 survivors leading those efforts. We have the script ready. We have a target list of which members of Congress that we will contact. It's so easy.
Wow.
All you have to do is hop on those calls and you'll be given basically a how-to, and it's so easy to make those calls and make a difference.
Nice.
And you don't have to be afraid to make those calls. Literally, the people that are answering those calls are a little bit older than Cali. Cali's met them, right? But we respectfully, lobby on a weekly basis, so that's due. You can go to newtownactionalliance.org and sign up for those lunch and lobbies. Also, we have these incredible every action email forms that we've created for every issue. And with one click, basically, you can email your representative and 2 senators to urge them to ban assault weapons, to pass Ethan's law, right?
Perfect.
So it's super easy.
That's
it's
great.
all on our website, and everyone should go on there to take some type of action. We've always believed that empathy without action is, and that's why our hashtag has been Honor with Action to end gun violence for all these years. And we need more, Americans to action.
Shamelessly plug whatever events you have coming up or other actions that you want people to take.
Well, here's the first one.
Okay.
On November 1st, it will be the 4th or 5th annual statewide Connecticut Keep Kids Safe Gun Buyback and Gun Safe Giveaway Day. We have given away thousands of gun safes to pistol permit holders here in Connecticut, because it's a law now. Gun owners have their guns in the homes and in their car, in their vehicles. So that's just something, a love in safety from our foundation. We work with police all across the state, including the one here in Newtown. So we encourage gun owners to show up, get rid of unwanted, unneeded, unsafe guns, and pick up gun safe.
Nice.
And lock up those guns.
Yeah.
So that's November 1st. And maybe you can elaborate more on the 13th Annual National Vigil for All Victims of Gun Violence.
Yeah, so we have many people all across the country come to DC, and then it's around 2 to 3 days. So then we have it's like a bonding experience kind of. The survivors and activists come in and we have like a huge meal together. You can socialize, talk with people, but I think it's really great because you get to hear so many different stories of people who have been affected by gun violence in some way or another, and that just motivates you even more to make a change, because as you get to know these people, you're like, yeah, I want to do something for you, like you've been put through this, like this is why I'm doing. And then after the actual vigil where we honor all those victims of gun violence, then we lobby in Congress, because honestly, probably it feels really great to do that, because we're delivering letters and we're lobbying with different senators and representatives and informing them of these issues that we feel so passionate about, and we're bringing survivors to them who have gone through this, and they're telling the senators and representatives personally that something needs to change, and it's extremely amplifying because the voices are being shared on that level.
Great.
And one more thing,
Yes.
I would say on a monthly basis, there have been this democracy events. Hands Off, May Day, Good Trouble Lives On, No Kings.
Yes.
I'm sure those national mobilization days will occur, and we encourage more people to show up.
Yes.
Particularly the young people.
Yeah.
We need everyone to show up, save democracy so that we can pass gun control legislation.
Exactly.